crack. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Check 1 2. Yeah, let's see, that was good. All right. Having some problems, but we're getting through it. Getting through it. We just get right to it. We'll just get right to it. For those of you who don't know. So this StreamYard thing, it's fun to integrate between two different systems, but the StreamYard's for you because I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, so here we are. For the haters, the questionnaires, the people who want to know more about something that perhaps they don't know anything about, or what they've been told isn't really accurate. So we're going to figure that out. But welcome, everybody. It's Saturday. It is 2:30 in the afternoon here on the East Coast in wonderful Hagerstown, Maryland. Welcome to the WYSIWYG TV podcast show. Shitcase? I don't know what you call it. It's whatever it's going to be, but it's going to be great because everybody seems to have an opinion about what they don't know or what they assume they know. And they love to make shit up. So I figured because they can't handle that discussion in their own chat, that I would allow them to come here and introduce themselves. So before we get too much further, let me put up an invite. Copy this. Here, I'm even going to paste it over here too. That's funny. It won't do any good over there, but they'll see it. And here's this for you guys. There is the StreamYard. What I need to do though is I need to, let's see if this will work here. Pin that. Somebody able to pin that for me? I forgot to open up this other window that would allow me to do such goodness. Now, can I paste? Oh shit! Wait! Don't do that. I was about to invite myself. Pin message. There we go. It's working. Better video screen, better music. What are we talking about? What did I miss? What's a Kick channel? Oh, Kick channel. You know, it was a sort of a YouTube alternative for people who were removed, kicked, I guess you could say, from YouTube for violating YouTube policy. So they went and they started their own platform, right? Linda Lou's gonna. Oh man, there it is. Okay, it's funny because I need to not watch this window. Let me change this. Hold on, Tommy. Hold on. I'm trying to fix something here. There we go. Fix my little window. It won't go smaller. Okay, get back. So we've got the world famous Illumitami joining us. First guest here. Tommy, what's going on? Let's see if we can hear you.
Fastest panel in the panel. Or fastest link. Fastest link in the panel.
There you go. What's going on?
I wondered if I got an echo. You got an echo?
Yeah, you probably do have an echo. Let me see here.
I never get it with the tab.
Nah, it's, you know what, Tommy, it's on my end, and this is because I have not microphone. No, please hold.
That's a yes.
Please hold. Let me see if I change this.
Just a moment.
Yeah.
I'll close my extra tab out just in case. But I think you already fixed it. Echo. Yeah, you got it. So is this stream off of that little hostile chat or comment thing we cross paths on with the ladies? Maybe I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Whatever fixed the echo took you out. I've been here before. I've had this conundrum. Nope. He knows,
How
guys.
about now?
He knows, guys. There we go. Yeah.
Now you've got me.
But the echo's back.
But the echo's back. Echoes. Hold on one second. Let me. I got a lot of options here. So
yeah, I think you're doing a similar thing. You're using like an Apple platform to run StreamYard with it. I'm doing that with OBS. I'm trying to think what it might be.
Well, because I have mic and speaker options, and usually my microphone, main, stereo, and then speaker needs to be set to, because it's I've got to be able to hear you, and you're already going back out. So
I'm probably coming in your microphone.
You're coming in my microphone and going through the mixing board. So
you probably
yeah. If I just mute you out, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Is that gone now?
You still hear me while I'm muted out?
Yeah, I hear you.
There you go. You got it.
Yeah. So that killed. Okay. So that's a temporary fix for right now, but
or a fix. Oh yeah. Tommy Temper is map StreamYard output to your headphones only, but then you'd have to put your headphones on.
Yeah, it's more complicated because see what I'm doing is I'm running it through. You can see this is what my big monitor looks like, and you got StreamYard running through the right, which is running through Google Chrome, right? But I'm sending a virtual camera signal from this app that I stream from, normally called Ecamm, and So that's where it is. It's a complex. I gotta figure out.
I'm doing the same thing. So pro tip,
yeah.
if you're doing that, are you still paying StreamYard $33 a month?
No, that's why that StreamYard logo's up in that corner.
Yeah. Oh, so you're just doing the free hours?
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Right. So what
I just use that because Ecamm actually allows me to bring in people, but people don't like, for some reason, people are more comfortable with StreamYards. So it's just easier for me to send a virtual camera over to StreamYard than it is to bring people from StreamYard into my Ecamm.
Yeah. So what I do is I just use an offline record only StreamYard panel and just bring it online through OBS. So I don't even have to pay them. I just don't get to use their features, but I can use it all the time and not pay them.
I didn't know that that was possible with StreamYard.
They'll figure it out eventually and probably.
Oh, you know what? I know what you did. I just connected that. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That is interesting. And then it doesn't have the StreamYard logo on it, I'm guessing.
Oh, it does, but I can grow the screen big enough on OBS that it'll like take it out of the frame.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
yeah, is this the G is me crew coming at you?
No. It's actually not. It's Scott Hochstetter went to Los Angeles because he believes
he got traded to LA. I didn't know he was a free agent.
Well, yeah. See, remember back from the convoy, there was a woman who was involved in the convoy who was not one of the leadership. And in fact, I don't even know how she was truly involved. But I know why she was removed from the convoy, because she was using convoy money to pay for her hotel rooms, whereas the organizers were paying their own money for their own housing. And one of the heads of the convoy got rid of her, didn't want her around. So, but she apparently, according to online reports and stories, was a Scientologist or is a Scientologist. I don't know if she is or was or what. No, it doesn't matter. It's religion, right?
Well, it kind of matters. Depends on why you find that out. But yeah, I get.
Yeah, either way, people get attacked for all kinds of reasons. Attacking people over their religious beliefs, I think, is kind of ridiculous.
There's not attacking religious beliefs. We know that was written by L. Ron Hubbard and Anton LaVey. I can't even. And I believe in the crucifix magic man, but I can't even with Scientology. I can't.
What do you mean you can't?
Did you see what they did to Tom Cruise's marriage with Nicole Kidman? Like, they're actually kind of like more like a political party or something, the way they make
based
movies.
On what, Tommy?
HBO did this what do you call it, documentary on him, where they had another wife they had another woman ready to move in once they had split him from Nicole. It gets crazy, man. It gets crazy.
But here's the thing, Scientology has always had, even before I became a Scientologist for a brief time, I worked in Hollywood for many years prior to that.
Did you meet the guy from South Park? Does Chef?
Trey Parker?
No, the one that does the voice of Chef. I guess he was a singer before that.
I'm not sure who that is.
Apparently, the guy that voiced Chef quit South Park because he's a Scientologist and he was deeply offended by the Scientology episode.
I can kind of understand that. I get that, right?
I think he was like a soul singer or a Motown singer before he was like in his youth.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists and artist types are very much drawn to Scientology, and I get it. I can see why.
And I mean, it is. I think the process of how they're existing and what they're doing is interesting. Like, did you know? I guess at the main place they have like this sniper's nest up on the mountain over top the main Scientology church or something. and one of the
Mhm.
guards there got in big trouble because he put the crosshairs on like the main guy or something, and they found out about it.
So what is this place that you're talking about? Because I'm familiar with a lot of the
In California, is there like a central Scientology, like the main church or something?
in Los Angeles.
Is there? That's what I'm asking.
Well, the blue buildings are sort of the largest higher level training portion of the church, and then in Los Angeles you've got Celebrity Center, CC they call it, which is over on Fountain, over by the restaurant La Poubelle that Scott's been protesting at for months. And you can only do certain level services at certain places across the globe, right?
No, with the
So
just out of my randomness, I don't want to derail your
yeah,
your
no.
show. If you don't want to, okay.
This is what it was about, is sort of talking about these things that people, hear and tend to believe, right?
Yeah. So anyway,
And I'm not
yeah,
saying that these things aren't true, right? I'm not saying they're not true. I'm just
right,
I'm
and
just
that's what I'm
talking about
asking
my
you.
time and what I saw and what I did and what I got out of it, right? So
Mhm.
that's the discussion. But there's a lot
So as
of
much as I can vaguely remember, I guess along one of these major buildings, there's like a mountain or a hill that's higher than that. And I
right.
guess they just have a pretty developed sniper's nest set up on it, I guess,
Well,
for security.
they
I got
they
no
do,
problem with a sniper's nest. I'm
right.
along
Do you
with
think
myself.
that they might have a legitimate security concern?
I think it's just a cool detail that I am asking, do you know that is to be a thing?
Yeah, I
I
don't.
guess one of the guys they hire to be up there, I don't know if it was just goofing off or what, he like put the crosshairs on the main guy that I don't even remember his name, but he got in big trouble for it. And you
Yeah,
shouldn't do.
how would they have known that?
I guess they were talking about maybe like
Right?
shift change or something. I don't know. I guess they were talking about it.
Right. So, well, you know something about guns, right?
A little bit.
A little bit, right? So, if you were doing surveillance and a sniper, right? Would you look through your magnifying glass, your telescope that's on the rifle to see things?
We do that when we're hunting. Like
Right.
it's just like a binoculars on your gun. But yeah, you
Right.
wouldn't point it at people, much less the guy that's probably hiring you to be up there. You wouldn't do that.
Well,
No.
I wouldn't imagine you would, but you for hunting purposes, right? You're looking through your scope and you see a deer, it doesn't mean you're going to take that deer's life, right?
Right. And also
But you
you can look at something like a telescope and not put the crosshairs dead to rights on on them like a target,
sure,
if
sure.
that's what he
So I'm
did.
just saying that, like, do you think, right? I would
Oh, and
imagine that snipers point their weapons looking through their sights, their scope, at a lot of potential targets,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
That's kind of what they do.
And then in a military sense, that's also what your spotter would also be assisting with actual binoculars and stuff.
Sure,
Yeah.
right, right. But from what I've understood, I guess listening to snipers talk about, like, uh, working in different
Mhm.
places and in some of these interviews, it's really interesting that they have this sort of pattern that they do with their rifle, and they work. I'm trying to remember the term, but they basically work a grid,
Mhm.
looking and checking all of the things that they are, sort of focused towards, and what that looks like.
Yeah,
Some of
because
the
if
point
you're
being is that it doesn't seem unrealistic. Now, also too, from what I understand, with a sniper like that, they're on safety. They have trigger discipline, so their finger's not on the trigger.
Yep.
And that's a viewing optic at that
Mhm.
time. So is it possible? Yeah, but you can. My point is, you can see how stories become stories. Even when
Yeah,
it
I
comes
would.
to things like Scientology, people want to make up things that they think happen. I don't
Well,
get it. Like
the
there's no evidence to this. It's not like, why are we getting ourselves into a,
no, for the sniper story, I was kind of just asking you if you knew about it, but
no, no,
and
I've
I
never,
will
this
admit,
is the first I've heard it, anything
and
like
I
that.
will admit, I would have a bias as Jesus people with that Anton LaVey guy. Like if he did play a large part in the
Who's
Scientology,
Anton LaVey?
the Satan Church guy,
The what?
uh, Church of Satan founder.
Okay. And how does that connect to, what'd you say, L. Ron Hubbard?
I heard, and I might be wrong. I thought it was L. Ron Hubbard and Anton LaVey that started the Church of Scientology.
I've never heard the name Anton LaVey in anything Scientology,
Okay.
through the church, whatever. They very much hold L. Ron Hubbard to high esteem for his work in what he created, which is Scientology, which, if you've spent any time in Scientology, you realize come from a lot of different religious places. You've got Buddhism, you've got like psychology, you've got sort of the picking of these great pieces and pull everything together, whether that's, intentionally to sort of use people and make money. Like, I don't know if that's what the intention was, but what they would call the technology seems to work. And the best example of that is somebody like Tom Cruise, who is the highest level of Scientology you could be.
Mm.
Is clearly, you can look at the guy and realize he's sort of superhuman in a strange way, because everybody that I've worked with that has worked with Tom tells you kind of the same thing. He doesn't
I
sleep.
I do
He's
like
got,
Tom Cruise,
yeah, he's got
and
incredible
whenever they
energy.
show the footage of him like flipping out on the cast, I understand that he's in that position where no one's gonna tell him no, and
Right.
he doesn't know like where do I wrap this up? Do I stop? Because they're not gonna stop him. No one's gonna tell Tom Cruise no, so he'll
Right.
just perpetually go.
And
But he
you're,
did wreck that one news guy on the kids on medications and stuff.
yeah.
I forget who interviewed him. He's like, "You don't know this like I know."
Oh yeah. I do remember that. You are aware that uh, Scientology is very against pharmaceuticals and the
Mhm,
drugging of, you know, the planet,
mhm. And I
right?
think he was talking about Adderall and Ritalin, and
Yes.
that's why I've told this panel verse about my meth experience because I've done meth, Adderall, and Ritalin. Same family, same show. They're about
Hmm.
as they're about as similar as wine, liquor, and beer. It's like still that you still get drunk, might be a little variation in drunk. Yeah, meth, Adderall, Ritalin, all that same stimulant speed thing.
Yeah. Scientology, um, as
Stole the
much
best
as they're,
name for if someone was going to just rely on science alone and like science is my thing. You guys stole the name. That's what you would have called it.
well,
Nice troll.
yeah. Well,
Nice
I
troll,
don't
Scientology.
remember the origins of. Let's see. Let's see. I pulled up. I pulled up the
Young Wizzy,
Scientology.
pull that up.
Yeah. Give me a second here. Let me.
You know, I grew up watching He-Man, so I know L. Ron Hubbard for Dianetics.
Right. Um,
It was
you.
like the commercial for Dianetics every time I was watching He-Man.
I think we can still hear you. I think we can still see you. I just want to make sure. Let me see if I can do it this way.
I'm going to say that's
No,
usually
because
a
that
problem.
wants to do that. Picture in picture. I don't want to do picture in picture. I just want to make. Okay, that'll work. So I'll do this, and then I'll bring this up here, and now we got Scientology up on the screen. This is Church of Scientology Los Angeles website. That is just the first one that came up. But let's see background and origins. I don't know if it'll tell us where Scientology got its name from. But
Wizzy.
am I gone?
No, but it's like
Oh,
the distance between us. It's funny. I like
oh,
it.
gotcha.
You stay over there, Wizzy. I'll
Yeah.
stay over here on my side. You stay over there.
Right. But it's interesting because this website has a lot on it that I would imagine people could go and look at.
Yeah, we'll go check it out because I don't like to, like, I was just kind of riffing, but if I am going to make the statement of, I will go see if Anton was really involved in that stuff because now I'd have to try and think about where even I got that.
Right. Yeah. I don't think that by reading their website, you'll get sucked into Scientology. So you don't really have to
I'm not
worry
worried about
that. And really, that's more for, from this I know, wants to know why I left Scientology.
So you're not currently Scientologist?
No. In fact, I have here, I'll play the message for you. Oh. Let's hope that's okay. I think we should be good, but I did get a message that something was going on with the sound, but I think that was old. But here, listen to this message. This is kind of funny. Here. Hang on. It's not playing out the speaker. Come on, just play out the speaker.
Sorry.
Let's try it again.
And I'm concerned about what's happening. Hey, Chris, this is Sandy calling you from Scientology. It looks from your file like you haven't done anything in Scientology in about 10 years, and I'm concerned about what's happening. I'd like to help. So would you please give me
concerned what's happening? I'm curious what she thinks is happening.
Hey, Chris, this is Sandy calling you from Scientology.
10 years I haven't been
in your file like you haven't done anything in Scientology in about 10 years, and I'm concerned about what's
because I
happening.
left Scientology.
Would you please?
Which some people don't seem to really believe that. Like you go into Scott's chat and Scott continues to tell everybody that I'm still a Scientologist, which is really, really funny. Troy, ask Wizzy. Let's see here.
That's my new trend. I'm trying to get started in this channel.
OnlyFans
is let men speak for themselves, because people are still running around saying I'm a crypto millionaire. I'm like, I've never said I was a crypto millionaire.
Well, you sort of alluded to the fact that you did well in crypto and whatnot.
But... No, I did well because I got in on Tesla and some other companies. Like I bought Tesla at like $50 a share,
which is awesome.
Sold at like 1,200 plus. I hold crypto, but I haven't done the thing yet.
I see.
But that was started by one of my enemies early in the Panelverse, and people still say it. Like you're saying, they still say you're a Scientologist. Right. And I'm like, what if everyone just spoke for themselves and then we went by that? Or speculated, challenged that person on that.
Sure. Well,
because another thing you'll find is a lot of people will come at you with something, and when you try to set them straight on the facts, they won't let it finish. They'll like either leave or disrupt. They don't want to hear what actually is, and maybe you just want it clarified.
Well, and that's for a reason too, right? We kind of know what their reason is, because one, they're just trolls, right? So it doesn't really matter. They don't care what the truth is. They're going to put out there whatever they think is going to hurt you in some way. But what I don't get is, why do they want to hurt you? Why do they want to hurt me? Well, what did I do, right? So with some of the comments, I know why they want to hurt me, because I've either embarrassed them or exposed something they didn't like, right? And so that's why, So hey, maybe Telescope's here.
Maybe we can't.
Have you said hi to Telescope yet?
Oh, Telescope's a nemesis that I
my
bought
traumas from the 76. Yeah, I don't have any traumas, Telescope, but welcome. If you're a decent human being, Telescope, You'll be allowed to stay here today. I already told the mods that today is, you know, a day for these discussions. So, G, the
So,
StreamYard
G,
logo is because I don't pay for
sit in the
StreamYard.
chat, G.
I'm
Come
using
on.
StreamYard to be able to allow those of you who want to come up and ask questions to do that, because
Oh, I think
people
she's
like
implying
StreamYards
that
over what I use. They don't trust it. They think that I'm going to steal their identity somehow because they clicked a link to get on a panel from another service. So that's why I'm using StreamYards and I don't pay for it. So it's got that StreamYard, you know,
that's what she's implying.
I pay $50 a month for the cool, this thing here that you're looking at. And it has a way to bring interviewees to join into the live stream. But yeah. Honkus. I know. Telescope likes that.
So that puts us back to my original
You're welcome,
question.
G.
When we had the little discourse in the comments of one of your posts, that was this tired old socialist crew of G is me and them, right? It's still the same
Susan
old
Knox is here.
BS.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You guys are pathetic. Not you, Wizzy, but this crew. It's like,
Right.
change
No.
the record. Go do your thing.
Right.
Or come up on a panel and have it out. But the
Right. They
hordes
won't do that.
chat, and whatever we
Telescope has
say,
been
we're
up
going to
before.
say that wins. It's pathetic.
Right. Telescope's been up before.
Yeah, he's got wrecked.
Yeah. But it's like we're seeing something very different in the political climate of this, you know, what is it, 16 days, I think, till the election.
Yeah, the
right?
end of it.
And it's not going to change. It's not, you know, nothing is going to change come November 5th when we have a new president. Because either way, it's a new president, right?
Right. And I'm putting my bets on there still might not be an election, and there might not ever be an election again.
I don't know that I would go that far, but yeah, it's
Well, that's what
that would not be the country that we live in, not having elections.
The views and expressions of Illumitami do not represent the views and expressions of WYSIWYG.
Right. And honestly, G, I'm gonna make this clarification. You have not been on. Your character, Faceless, has been on. But you as an individual, as a person with accountability, apparently my iPad thinks that I asked for something from Siri. So, but yeah, so that's what I'm talking about, G. The real person behind the account has never been on.
I'd be cautious.
So for you to say I've been on before, you haven't.
I haven't battled G straight face to face on a panel since Jeff, R.I.P. Jeff. That's the last time I encountered her face to face.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, G, your character, just like the many characters that show up in these chats that I'm looking at, the JFKs.
And the thing that's really...
We'll talk about what made me leave Scientology.
Like I said, when they showed up recently out of nowhere, where I haven't seen them in almost a year, they say the same old stuff from the chat. And it's like, it's irrelevant. It's just spurting the chat. And then when you start talking them out, when you start talking them out or booting them, they go, what, you can't handle us? It's like, you think I'm going to sit and let each of you run down the
Joanne, you're wrong.
Up? It's like,
she is not Whistlegirl. Two different people. Whistlegirl's name is Jessica.
And then has Nightmare changed to somebody else now? I knew her as Nightmare whenever they were trying to bring Jack Talcott into the fold and stuff.
Christy B, that's interesting because I agree with you. Scott really does not know what he talks about. And that's evident in the things that he says and the claims. The biggest, best example is the $50 a week pay, which is not pay, right? They don't work for an hourly wage. They don't work for pay. They give their lives to the church as Seaorg members. In exchange, they get room and board, they get free services, and they're given a job. Everybody has a job to do that is a Seaorg member. It's their post, right? Whether that's auditing as a post or working in the kitchen as a post, because they all have to feed. They create a community, right? If you want to call it a communist community, a socialist community, that's kind of what it is, right? You're within that, but like you can still do what you want. You have these responsibilities. You have signed up to have these responsibilities as if you were in the military. Join the Marines. It's the same thing. Now, Marines get a pay, but what do Marines, Tommy, what does a Marine make per year? What is the salary of a Marine?
Not a lot, depending. It goes by rank, but yeah, the
Right.
military is the biggest socialist organization, I think, in the world, probably, as far as how its function is. It's very socialist.
Right.
for the most
So let's
part.
see here. Google AI overview. Salary of a U.S. Marine depends on rank, position, years of service, entry level. As of October 2024, the average hourly pay for an entry level Marine is $27.86. The majority of entry level Marine wages range from $19.47 to $34.13 per hour. Interesting.
And what
Higher
I was
ranking.
going to settle
What?
on is I've never heard a service member be happy with their pay for the most part.
Well, this is a pretty great rate. I don't know if you've been looking for jobs at all, but this is pretty good. However, is that based on a 40-hour week? This actually creates a lot of questions for me.
It's not clock in, clock out. It's if it needs done, they'll
Right.
have you do it,
Right. Because it's a 24/7 job when you're a Marine. Which
And
is my
there's some
point. Is
things-
you join the Marines, you agree to, give up the rights to your own body.
They have the rights of a lab monkey, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, right? And
But,
that's just the way it goes.
There's ways as individuals they can get screwed more or less, because I used to run some retail stores on Air Force and Army bases.
Yeah.
That STARS card, the credit card for the military stores on base, it's not really great for them the way all the numbers work out in the end. There's not a lot of benefit to it, but it looks like it on paper.
Yeah.
But it's more of like they're serving. That's why everyone thanks them for it. It is a much appreciated thing historically.
Mhm.
I guess now they've been greenlit to go ahead and shoot Americans if they need to. I haven't looked into that headline too much, but everybody's talking about it right now.
Yeah.
I always assumed they could shoot it.
So Telescope, why do you think that her being a Scientologist is a bad thing, right? Because you believe perhaps some of these rumors that are going around, right? I know what I've heard him say, Tommy, but he won't make those claims and discuss them.
Telescope?
But he wants to use Scientology to wreck this woman, just like he wants to do that with me, right? But he doesn't know why.
The guy or Telescope?
Telescope.
Oh, okay.
Telescope.
Yeah.
But I won't say anything negative about Scientology because I don't have anything negative to say. I have not witnessed or seen what Telescope would claim about Scientology.
Yeah, it's still free country, but I would be interested if you can track down that HBO documentary, if you could stamp or deny some of that stuff that I don't even remember. I just remember watching the whole thing like, this is incredible. It's amazing what it says was going on there.
Mm-hmm. And the claims, right?
What's that?
And the claims that were made.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, we all watched Tom Cruise whenever he was like jumping on Oprah's couch, and I appreciated that because somebody added the Jedi Force lightning to it, like he's talking her. But
Right.
in the
That's high
documentary,
tone, and you know, he was right. It's
but
over the top for a lot of people.
in the documentary, they were claiming that what Scientology was doing to him was like they were giving him so many medals for being Tom and giving him the Johnny
Colonel
Football
Custard, I
Hero
am a
treatment.
former Scientologist, and I don't believe it's a cult, right? However, by your logic, every religion is a cult. The Democrat Party is a cult. The
Oh, that one, no. Yeah, that one.
right, the Republican Party is a cult. Everything can be a cult, right? So that doesn't mean anything. Calling everything
How do we
racist, you know,
define
it's
what
like
would have told me?
you're carpet bombing Scientology with these terms because you think that they're, you know, going to create this. It's not. So that's the problem is you've been told to believe that it's a cult. It's a religion, just like any other religion. So,
And I will give it that.
yeah. And Colonel Custard, if you want to get up here and have a conversation, let's talk about it. But it's
Oh,
not a
one
cult.
thing I do remember, the Church of Scientology is the only
How could it be
entity,
a cult if I'm gone?
they're the only entity that's ever beat the IRS.
Right.
Uh,
And
allegedly,
there's some question as to, you know, whether that was done legally or not. Right.
it was because they told how they did it, and it was genius.
Yeah.
I forget how many members there are of the Church of Scientology, but they owed like however many $1 million to the IRS. And they said, okay, if you don't drop that, each member will individually file suit. So you'll have to go through a court case for every member of Scientology. And they dropped it. I was like,
right.
Genius. I
You
wouldn't have thought.
Defining a, you know, it's one of the youngest religions, right? I think I've heard that said before. You know, there's lots of different types of religions, right? Tommy, did you know that within Scientology, if you're a Scientologist, you could also be a Buddhist, you could be a Christian, you could be a Jew, you could be, you know, practicing Muslim, right?
I don't know
Scientology
if you could be a
doesn't,
Christian, but I believe you that you could be the other one.
yeah, they don't, it's not, you're not Scientology or, you know, else. It's, you can do whatever you want to do.
And the reason you couldn't be Christian is because the theton, whatever you say the thing is that removes the thetons, that process, if it's something you don't rely on God for, Christians would be like, yeah, I can't look to something else.
Well, yeah, you may find contradictions in your beliefs, in your religions, but Scientology doesn't tell you can't. You can be practicing anything and still be a Scientologist.
No, Christianity, like that's why I knock the Catholics for using tarot cards and stuff. It's not a Christian thing.
Right. But there's a lot of things that you might not think are a Christian thing, but for some reason they still do within churches that believe in Christianity. Right.
Well, they'd probably be apostate or doing it wrong.
Well, that would be the belief, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Right.
Yeah, I did a LARP church on it, but it's called Enslaved by Tarot. Shout to EBT.
Yeah.
But I went biblically on why Christians don't go to tarot readings, use fortune telly things, astrology, stuff like that.
So JFK is saying that being in the military is a choice, not a sacrifice.
Unless you're drafted.
Unless you're drafted.
Mm-hmm.
But you make a sacrifice for your country, some would argue.
And thank you to those brave men.
Who do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, people also choose to join Scientology as a Seaorg member. And remember, there's public and then there's Seaorg members. Seaorg members, like a nun or a priest, they join the church and give their lives to that church until the day comes where maybe they did something like get their wife pregnant, right? Because you can be married and be in the Seaorg, but the Seaorg says you're not allowed to have children while in the Seaorg. So if you get pregnant, you then have to leave the Seaorg. Does that make sense, Tommy?
I can relate with it. I was raised in a time when we were taught the worst possible outcome of a sexual encounter is to have a kid. So I can feel that.
Right. Now, Scientology promotes having children. Like they believe that the more children you have, the better, because you're creating a world in a better place, and more Scientologists, right? Is their belief. I know Scientologists that have 5-6 kids who are all really incredible children because they were raised in Scientology and they learn how to get out of their heads. They are hardworking children that do their chores and are responsible and have good moral character and are incredibly intelligent, and probably will go on to do great and wonderful things and maybe just be little Tom Cruises, right? Because, yeah, he is incredibly talented and is able to overcome a lot because he's not in his head, right? And that's what the gist of Scientology is, in the simplest terms.
Also, he was Les Grossman.
He was Les Grossman. That was a great character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tom's played what was it? Not American Made. The one where he plays the drug dealer flying.
The assassin.
No, not assassin. He plays a pilot, and he was working for the CIA, bringing drugs from the cartels. And American Made, I think, was the.
Okay, yeah, I remember. But I did like that one where Jamie Foxx drives him around all night while he assassinates people.
Oh yeah.
That was a good one too.
Great film. I wish I could tell you what that is, but yeah, no, it's. I've seen where Scientology unlocks people's potential. What was the movie? I'm trying to think of the actor's name. He finds the pill, and the pill allows him to just think.
Oh, Limitless.
Limitless. Thank you.
Bradley. Bradley something.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Limitless.
Mm-hmm.
It's the subtle hints of, Scientology doesn't make you smarter. However, it does give you some tools, I'll say, to learning at a better, faster
all that stock
pace.
market success I found, that was on that.
Really? See, that's pretty good.
Yeah, because some people would do meth and go be a POS. I used meth as if it was an Adderall or Ritalin, and I focused on stock charts.
Gotcha. It gave you that. Right. And there are a number of ways to do that. Scientology would not include drugs, right? So there is that. But yeah, it's work equals incentive equals better lives. Sure.
Oh, next they're going to tell us poverty equals crime. That sounds like one of those G is me, aka back in the basement arguments.
It doesn't. Telescope says it doesn't unlock anything but control of oneself.
It could be, on his logic, it could be one of those, what do you call it? Well, placebo effect.
Right. Telescope,
but
I would imagine you've read a free copy of Dianetics.
No, but I remember that episode of Smurfs where they convince one of the Smurfs, he puts the jam on his nose, he can do superpower stuff, and he does.
Oh, that's funny. What was the jam?
It's just Smurfberry jam.
Christy B says, well, if Scientology unlocked Laura's potential, then Laura picked the wrong idea with that singing. Well, Christy B, that's interesting that you say that. So she's an artist. She has her thing. The one thing I will point out is that if you look at the Scientology protesters, you've got Laura, and what is his name? That is part of her band from South America. I say that because he claims that he was trafficked. One, if your parents take you on vacation, you are not trafficked.
Mm-hmm.
That's minimizing what he went through as a child, which was he was taken from the country that he was born in when his family moved to Los Angeles to work in Scientology. and he was brought with them. So when he
And we
says,
also,
when he says he was trafficked by Scientology, that is just not true. His parents wanted to work and move up in Scientology. Surge, yes. Thank you very
and
much.
it's just
Boxer.
like in Florida. In Florida, there's lots of prostitutes that are fine being prostitutes. When they did that big sting and busted like 50 prostitutes, oh, I'm being trafficked. I'm being trafficked. Like they'll say it whenever they get busted, but yeah, it's one of
That's
those
interesting.
cards to play now.
Right. Criminals will choose different ways of defending what they're doing, right? But Miss Delulu says, Surge, he was trafficked by his parents and horribly abused. Miss Delulu, he was brought, as he says, from South America to Los Angeles by his parents. He claims that his passport was taken from him and secured by Scientology, which, as a guest to this country, as if, when I would go and travel Europe and you check into a hotel, that is what they do, right, Tommy? Why do they take your passport from you when you check into a hotel?
Because you're probably going to meet some hostile type shenanigans. Like if you go see the pyramids, there's guys that'll offer to take you and tour you the pyramids. They're going to take you behind rocks and rob you.
Yeah, right.
So they're like, don't go with the tour
or they
guide
just
to the
hustle
pyramid.
you, and they'd like fake tour guide and then demand you give them money. But
and you can tell because they're really like, no, come on, for real, let me tour it. And they're like, no, I'm good, bro.
Let me just tell you that now, as a child, I was made to do things that I didn't want to do. I occasionally didn't want to go to church on Sunday. Now, we didn't go to church every Sunday, but when my dad wanted the family to go to church, I didn't really have a choice. I was forced to go sit in, St. Mary's in downtown Detroit, which is a beautiful church, and be bored out of my fucking mind as a child, right? Now, was I horribly abused? No, I was not. My parents tried to instill good values in me. And I think they did, because I've never been convicted of any crimes. I've never been really arrested. There was this one time where in high school, we tried to paint the rival football field in the middle of the night, but I didn't really get any charges for that. We did get caught, but, we hadn't actually committed any crime yet other than trespassing. But that's the extent of it, Tommy. Like, I think my parents did a pretty good job of raising me as a moral human being. That makes
because they taught you
decisions.
There's times that you'll sit down for hours and shut your mouth and be bored, and you benefited from it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't come on live stream and tell everybody that I was horribly abused by my parents because my mom made me clean my room. My dad made sure that I, went to school every day. My dad made sure that, I didn't have like bad friends, right? I was surrounded by decent people. I was horribly abused, as Serge Delmar would say.
Crews are like back in the basement, and G and all her crew. They're like those people that just smoke and they're mad and they support each other's bullshit.
And they support criminals. They support criminal behavior. I listened to it last night. They love to think, oh, I was such a bad person. I did all these things. It's like, well, you did make some lousy choices. And, here you are today, popping off, and you're a wise ass, and you act like an asshole. But yeah, sure.
And there is a way, like I can come up here and say I used to do a lot of meth and like still make the best of that past and story and say, hey, it's a lot like Adderall if you give your kids Adderall and stuff. I don't sit here and go, it's so stupid I can't do meth legally. I mean, I never got arrested or caught more, but it's like they still
But there's a lot of places where you can go do meth legally. You can go to California.
It is prescribed to some people.
Well, to some,
for the right reason.
Well, fentanyl.
And I don't even mean Adderall. I mean literal methamphetamine can be prescribed to people.
Sure. Yeah, all possible.
But I had even better training than you, Wizzy. You just had to sit in church my church would fill us full of cookies and Kool-Aid and then say, sit still and listen and be quiet. So I like have the higher level
How
discipline.
dare they? How dare they do that to you? That's awful. I feel like going out and protesting your church now. That is absolutely awful.
And then if a Sunday school teacher did tell my parents I was like laughing or acting out, they didn't know my dad was going to whoop the shit out of me when we got home.
Did you go to catechism?
Is that a denomination?
No, catechism, as far as I know, is it's been a long time. It's like a church school on, after school or catechism.
I went to two over, like I did most of my time in public school, but I did go to two different private schools for a while. But is catechism a Roman Catholic thing?
Catechism, according to Wikipedia, is a summary or exposition on doctrine and serves as a learning induction to the sacraments traditionally used in
pagan. The Roman Catholic pagan. Yeah, I'm not
Christian
Catholic.
Religious teaching and or adult converts. Catechisms are doctrinal manuals, often in the form of questions followed by answers to be memorized. I didn't do a whole lot of catechism. I think for some reason my mom thought I needed to go to catechism. And I as I remember, it was kind of like Boy Scouts. It was like hanging out with a bunch of other kids.
Like the church camp.
Yeah, I never went to church camp, which is interesting. But I did do summer camp as a kid, but not like church camp, but yeah. Being Catholic, not a problem.
I don't think all Catholics go to hell, but I think the spiritual fiat system concept, I think that gets people out of what Jesus was talking about.
Sure.
Like the by grace alone thing.
Yeah. Have you dabbled in any religions?
I mean, I've had close friends that were all Wiccan Green Man. They gifted me 21 Lessons of Merlin, stuff like that.
Really?
I had some friends that were Catholic. Yeah, and then Machine Lies, he's given me all the Muslim I care to hear. I mean, I'm open to it, but I think I'm gonna make my stance on the Jesus thing for this life. But like Jesus said, he wasn't saying that bend the knee thing. He was like, I hope you show up, neighbor. And that's what I tell anybody else. Like, I'll answer questions if they want to ask questions, but I'm not gonna force feed anybody. Too lazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when it comes to religion, like I would probably choose, if I had to choose between a non-religious person and a person of any religion, including Scientology, I most likely would take the person of any religion over someone who lacks religion at all.
Yeah, it's like I've said, death row, felon, hard time people, they need the Bible because they don't have that concept of don't stab that guy for his belongings. And so it is good, even with atheists, I would think would agree on some level. It's like, yeah, let the inmates get some Bible.
Right. So here's a weird question that you just sort of made me think of, which is quite often we see cartels, the most violent of cartels, having a strong religious background. How is that different? Because they don't value life, right?
I think cartels, while what's it called? It's not there's like this voodoo type Catholicism thing.
Santa Muerte.
Yeah. That's more of like a evil ritual sacrifice type thing where they may pose it as Dios mío with like the crucifix. No, I've constantly said cartels. Satan looks over the shoulder of cartels to get ideas for hell. I think they do gnarly stuff to people. Yeah.
So, Miss Lulu, I'd love for you to help me understand what that means.
I can't see the chats. I got my
Yeah,
big
she says,
screen.
there you go, Wizzy. You have just shown your level of intellect way down there.
Oh, that
What-
typical chat. Like, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, there
Gotcha.
you go. They got it.
Gotcha. You said
Yeah.
a thing, and I'm going to pose it this way. No, that's rule one of the panel verse. If you're an all-time chatter and you don't come up and talk, have a back and forth discourse, you can only get your credibility so high to stay in the chat. Because we
Right.
all know the chat is going to be the trolls, the
Right.
blah,
The
blah,
broad
blah.
generalizations
And
of
they can
groups, not
change their names
individuals.
at
Right.
will. You don't know who's who.
Right.
This is the credibility, is like consistent, show that it's you,
Right.
stand on your things. Those are the people that can make those stands.
Well,
And it's not that you have
yeah.
to, but if you're going to stay in the chat the whole time for your whole panel versus existence, you have to understand there's a ceiling that's set. The bar never goes any higher.
Yeah. You know, it's like judging Christianity on that one TV preacher that's, you know, taking everybody's money, right?
Yeah. And
One
I was the
person
first
did
one to
something.
tell this panel was I'm a bad Christian. We all are. If you were a good Christian, you'd be Jesus, and you won't be. Like, that's the point of Christianity, is we're all bad Christians.
Right. Right.
Man,
Yet
I
the
feel
moral
like you
the
touched
moral
on
values,
something.
the basis of religion, should just be enough.
Oh, that was my thing with Catholicism, where I have Catholic friends, even EBT in them. If Jesus and his crucifixion was the thing, why did Mother Teresa need all this excess spiritual fiat currency that, like, yeah, you can pay some people out of the alleged debtor's purgatory with that? That's what I think disrupts the concept, and I think that's
Yeah.
a dangerous. Like, even when I go help homeless people around Denver and stuff, I'm consciously like, this isn't earning me a thing. It's because I work for that guy I'm doing this, but it's not earning me my way there. I'm just doing it because I want to. But if
Right.
you do too much, you start to think like spiritual fiat currency system. So I think that's one of the deceptions that Catholicism, along with the Pope, you know, saying all religions lead to God, which historically Christianity would never stand on that. Now you got
Right.
this Pope saying it. Sketchy.
Do you wear your eyes when you go help in Denver? Who
Wear my
was?
eyes. I wear.
Do you
my
wear your
firearm, my
eyes when
sharp
you go
thing,
help in?
my-
Yeah, I don't know who Christie's referring or asking about that. I'm guessing that was somebody else in the chat, but it
I
was an
think she
interesting
might
comment.
think my eyes are actually engulfed with flame right now.
What do you have to do with Denver?
I live in Denver.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
All right.
And do you know why the Venezuelan gangs were allowed to take over Aurora apartments and not Denver apartments? And this is how I know they were allowing it and it was planned. Because if they did that in the Denver county lines, they could have called they would have been required to call the National Guard in. But since they only did it over in Saudi Aurora, they couldn't call the National Guard in. The
Saudi
police were
Aurora.
standing down. Yeah.
Funny.
Everybody loves the Saudi Aurora name. It really is.
So, wow, you kind of brought up a lot there.
Every
So
time,
why
every time
Denver
a black person
being able
put
to
a gun in
call?
my face has been in Saudi Aurora.
Yeah, but these are all cities in Colorado. Why would Denver?
Well, it's all Denver because it's like the boroughs in New York. You can say New York if there's no reason to be like Manhattan, Brooklyn. Aurora, you can be traveling through Denver and you'll just cross a street and now you're in Aurora. That's what it is. But because of those lines, they only did it in Saudi Aurora. And it is pretty big north to south. It's not as big east to west, but
it was
Aurora.
It was just a handful.
But they went to Colorado Springs and did it. There's a couple places around America they've done it. I think it's part of a much bigger play of long game that's going on with as far as lots of people getting moved in here. I've seen it in my own building. They didn't take over, but we had buses come in that we could no longer fund the assistance to. And it was like overnight one night, my building was just full. And it didn't sound like Spanish whenever I heard the languages and stuff I'm encountering.
Hmm.
There's a lot of peculiar things going on, and even the mayor was like, "We'll send you wherever you want. We don't have anything left for you," because they just nighttime buses. Buses show up nighttime. Lots of people get off, and then the next day at all the intersections, there's guys wearing like Puma and those soccer type brands, and they all had squeegees because none of the homeless people out here will do the clean the window at an intersection. All these guys showed up overnight and they were doing the squeegee thing at the intersections. I was like, something's going down here.
You're right, because you normally don't see that outside. Well, L.A. Well, New York was really sort of the squeegee place, right? That's where the whole squeegee thing started. LA, like I never, I lived there for 20 plus years. You didn't see people out with squeegees. That wasn't a LA thing. And I don't know why that wasn't LA. Like, at least it's sort of offering some sort of service, I guess, rather than
better
just
than newspaper. Yeah, newspaper
right?
was like you were rock bottom, and newspaper is good for cleaning glass. That's why the movies has the bum using the newspaper. But if you could steal or be provided with a squeegee, I'd use the squeegee. Yeah, makes you look more professional
and not dirty water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
I don't think these guys had water. I think they were just walking up with squeegee.
Right. Free stuff. Yeah. which they probably lifted from a gas station. I don't know about you, but I hate when I go to the gas station and there's no squeegee, windshield washers in the tub
Right.
there. Drives me nuts.
Or
when
in
it's
the
dry,
wintertime they're
it's like,
frozen in.
well, antifreeze. That's why you use antifreeze, right? But that's expensive,
Not at the gas station.
Right. Yeah.
The thing I appreciate about our business as usual intersections out here, it's either dudes impressively juggling things and they don't even come to the windows as much as have their Cash App on the sign, or it's Mexicans selling like glass dome roses and bags of oranges and stuff, like stuff you might want. I appreciate it.
Interesting.
And it also makes it very noticeable when overnight lots of guys in soccer wear and Puma stuff with squeegees are suddenly on all these intersections.
Right. Yeah. When I first moved to Hagerstown, you didn't see people standing on street corners.
Mm-hmm.
More and more, I think, as they've stopped enforcing or keeping people from doing that.
Definitely.
You see more and more now. In fact, I think they're almost fighting over the spots.
In the long game, America is the world police military superpower. We have neutralized all the countries down to a certain tier. And then when we're done with that, you can't take us down like that. You have to make our kids gender confused, destroy the families, bring a bunch of non-apple pie people into Tent City. This is all super long game of what G's people would be happy. Like they want their socialism, they want their communism. This is how it's going down.
Right.
America,
they want to be able to frame it the way they want to be able to frame it. It's because it's because they're not able to have an honest conversation about those things that they support, right? And they try to make that broad generalization that it's all or nothing, and it's not. There is actually a very nuanced discussion to most of the issues, but they have to frame you in the negative, and they're pushing an agenda. Half truth lies, But Christy B is interesting because she's really like, obviously I know, but Christy B doesn't think that. She thinks you're trying to hide your face, which it's obvious that you're not trying to hide your face.
Right.
Because the things go in and out, and you do it because it's an interesting sort of way of live streaming, I guess.
A little entertainment value, yeah. Little
aesthetic, something different. You've never been afraid to show who you are. People know who you are, right? So I'm like, I'm just not sure if Christy B understood that, and so I wanted to help her get a little understanding.
And they're just grasping, like they hear this real talk going on between two Caucasian men, and that's their kryptonite. They have to think of why we bad. Like those
No,
guys.
but I
are
don't think Christy
together.
B doesn't fall into that category of trolls. I don't
Yeah.
think she's like trolling you. I think she may not really just understand,
I
or
will admit the only ones I'm remotely familiar with have probably shared some truth or cop time with me. I
right.
kind of overlap into these circles. I'm not really prime in these circles.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Truth or Cop. I don't like what he does. Um he knows the truth, and he, it's his shtick. But the thing is people don't understand the shtick because
I don't think he does.
he may not.
Because I'm constantly telling him, truth or cop, you pick funny when no one's being funny. You get serious when everybody's being funny. And I don't think, like, I think he wants us to believe he's trolling and laying it on that thick. But the subject matter, whenever he's like telling Sewer Town that he was blaming Sewer Town for his wife needing mental health and stuff, I was like, wrong stance, bad move.
Yeah.
Right there on the guy's panel to his face. Then he came at me like after I beat the snafu pedo stuff, tried to refresh it and come at me. I was like, I'm about to drop this video. It makes me look like a fool.
Yeah.
So he's privated a lot of his old video. I think he comes around lately trying to do
Right.
at least right by me, but I get what you're saying. There's a lot of the time I don't know what the boy's doing. I don't know if he's acting out on his feels about something or if he really is wrong on his stance. He's peculiar like that. But I still say one of his best streams was me and him tag teaming that J6 guy. That was a great interview.
Interesting. I didn't see it. I don't watch.
We weren't
watch it
hostile,
all.
but it was like I covered questions he wouldn't have seen
Right.
asked. Like I asked the J6 guy, I was like, what were you guys thinking, just respectfully, when you went to one of the only places in America that's not legally part of the 50 states and exercised your protest right? Like, what were you guys thinking? He like had a long silence, like, I don't think I thought about that at all.
Yeah, but do you, like, I didn't think about that. It's to people, it is the capital of the United States, right? Why would you not be legally allowed to go protest, right?
Well, I'm not saying
I understand that there's a lot of different rules in DC.
when we're talking about jurisdictions and things.
Yeah, but it's I don't think, my point is that I don't think most people think about it that way. That's not their first. That's not their first thought.
Oh, I know it's not. That's why
this is where our government is. This is where
think like that. Yeah.
Right.
But he said an interesting point that he was at the Trump speech and in the front line going to the Capitol. And he said when they got there as the group, it was already a started chaos at the Capitol as the speech watchers came. And he said they started, the security went down to the maintenance doors, maintenance hatches, started handing out pillaging tools like ladders and climbing things.
Who did that?
The security for the Capitol.
Yeah, because there's like on the back side there was a building that they would all funnel through on their way. It was weird. Like I captured it on live stream.
There was the mix of tug of war over gates, and then it goes to right this way, sir. It was a very peculiar event. I agree.
Well, yeah, it depends on where you were at, but
and this guy was there, and we picked his brain the best we could.
But he wasn't everywhere, right?
But he was. And at the time we interviewed him, he was still preparing to go to his trial.
Sure, yeah. But
so I don't know whatever came to that because for the
with all the people, with the same thing that we saw in the riots in Portland and everywhere else. Like there are so many people out there that your field of vision, and it's possible that one person can say, we didn't do anything and look at these cops and what they're doing. But yet, 50 feet away, something could have happened that, the cops decide, okay, it's a riot, right? And just because you didn't see it didn't mean it didn't happen, right?
Oh, yeah. Right? But I think it is peculiar if he truly was the first line marching down there and it's already going on, but the speech is just getting there. I think that is peculiar.
It's not. And here's the reason I can tell you it's not, is because if you watched any of my live stream, I had Trump's speech playing in a speaker off of my shoulder live. And when whoever was at that forward gate on the back side, when they yelled 1776 and they pushed over that fence, Trump was still speaking.
Oh yeah, so the
Right.
people that were already there had no shits given about Trump or 1770. It's like
Oh,
who
they
was,
did. They were all Trump supporters.
are you
Um,
sure?
well,
Do you not think that G type people and G type crews are like,
oh no,
especially in
I didn't say that.
Antifa?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But you know,
No, follow me.
again,
If
it's not
let's say I'm
100%.
Antifa. Let's say I'm Antifa. Jeez,
Yeah.
that sounds weird, right? Could you imagine me putting on my 1776 shirt I got from Walmart and
Oh,
going down and
absolutely.
causing
Yeah.
an overabundance
Right.
of chaos?
Yeah. We watched Jaden X do that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then there was other videos of people doing that in bushes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's also what is the probability? This is a serious question to everybody in the chat. What is the probability that for every event held by conservatives in DC in the months prior, there wasn't a single time where anti-fascists dressed in black bloc were not out actively attacking and being violent towards conservatives prior to January 6th? Every time.
And
100%.
even though it didn't make much news, at sometime after January 6th, I think leftists went and protested some capital to the level of like
After. Yep, they did.
entering.
But
Yeah.
prior to that, prior to January 6th, they were out there for every conservative rally and event that occurred, including attacking politicians on the streets of DC, as documented and live streamed every single time. So what are the chances that on January 6th, one of the largest Trump rallies ever held, and the fact that it was in DC, not one Antifa black bloc protester was seen?
African American law.
Say
I'm
that
gonna do
again?
the math real. I'm gonna do the math real quick on that.
All right.
I'm gonna say 100%.
Correct. Yeah.
Wasn't even
Yeah.
my strongest subject.
So, you know, the notice by the mayor of DC, don't go out. Dangerous protesters are out in the street.
Mm-hmm.
The dangerous protesters have always been these Democrat operatives. Time and time again, we've seen it. It's been documented and ignored by Democrats.
Well,
But it's
and they're
there,
only
and
dangerous
they
in the
gaslight
sense,
the shit out of people. And everybody knows what happened, right?
but they're also only physically dangerous in the sense that these Venezuelans are. It's the cops are sitting back letting the Venezuelans go. If I went over to Aurora and did something about it, they'd arrest me.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, however, going back to what I said, that the people that I was around and had seen and followed before that happened, the highest percentage were still people who support Trump. The highest percentage.
And I'll also give you
Telescope
that.
says Wizzy is still triggered by Whistle Girl. I've never been triggered by Whistle Girl.
They like to say what triggers us and what. I hate men trying to talk for men that can speak for themselves.
Right.
Telescope, you came up at TML. Why don't you want to come up and say your piece? Is it because you know you're just as effeminate as your G crew and you just want to sit down there and chat away? But now that you mention it, with the back in the Chaz Chop days, I did have a meme.
I just want to make sure everybody knows who Telescope is. This is Telescope here. Sorry, not that Telescope. Hang on. Wrong. Here, I gotta switch that. Why did that not come up that way? Because it comes up as a. Please hold. This is Telescope here. That's Telescope. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know. Somebody sent me this picture, and because
Is
I
that
know
one of
telescope.
Carl's, one of
What?
Carl's speeches? No, I was thinking that Lion King thing he did.
No, that's telescope right there. That triggers me, Tommy. That's the kind of shit right there that just absolutely triggers me. Why?
You don't like. What about Peter Dinklage? You like Peter Dinklage?
I think he's played some funny characters. He was great in Game of Thrones, but
Oh yeah. Oh,
I'm sure you did win an award for that.
I wasn't like the one time I finally got a piece of telescope on a panel. I wasn't really impressed, and I don't think the viewers were.
For a college educated person as himself. But you know, I've come to understand that those who are incredibly intelligent are the most easily fooled.
I don't know if he's incredibly intelligent. I mean, I think intelligent people do go to college, but I don't think college makes people because there's still a way you can just pass tests and you're not thinking, you know?
Honkus. It changes from day to day, honkus. It's fluid. It's a fluid
in that post recently when they were trying to say like he's doing now triggered emotional, well the girl I kind of stepped to on that was very quick to block me and say bye. Like, yeah, you're triggered, you're emotional. Like, we can sit here calm, say our piece, and the more they disagree and get infuriated by it, they're gonna say, "Look at them, they mad, they can't handle us." It's their MO. It's the only strategy they really have.
And we're never going to get anywhere in this country if this just keeps continuing to.
Oh no, this is all designed
path.
to fail, sir. It's all designed to fail. That's where we get into my religious beliefs. I'm not a defeatist. I'm not a pessimist, but I think some things are foregone. Whether you're skull and bones or Jesus people, I think beast system will do beast system. But these guys.
The good versus evil is really starting to be more apparent than ever.
Even atheists are like, man, Hollywood's really demonic these days. But I think the socialists and the G Crew types, I think they see it as personally us versus them. And we're just looking for the facts and where we stand on compared to what those facts are.
Well, the great example that was made today was this account on X that was making a claim about Tim Walz, and conservatives didn't immediately start carrying that as truth because they didn't show evidence. And conservatives have apparently learned some lessons, and whether it was something that was put out there as a setup to show conservatism in a bad light, but nobody took the bait, the main people. And then
I think we're evolving because you see what the psyops are to social media and stuff. Because on the Olympics, I was around YouTube hearing, Christians mad about Olympic ceremony, but not I can't even remember the thing they said we were supposed to. And I was like, we're kind of not happy about either, but what do you want?
Right. Yeah. And that, everyone who's conservative is Catholic and, demanding religion on everybody else, because it's just not true. Right. But they do like to blanket these statements amongst everybody. We're all individuals. Everybody's an individual. And
that's going to cause more chaos, because when I was dealing with the pedo accusations, the kids in the Linguini crew that came at me, they claim conservative, but they're like, we don't have to be Christian to be conservative. Like, this is 2022, 23, whatever it was. They were like, Christian doesn't mean, or conservative doesn't imply Christianity anymore. I was like, you're right. You're definitely right about that.
Yeah. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, this is called Gold Base, somebody messaged me saying that maybe what you were referring to is this place called Gold Base.
Oh, I'm bringing it up on the bigger screen, but that might be it.
Yeah. And let's see. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, like up
but-
on the Brown Mountain, is there a sniper's nest?
maybe I should have. I
That
know
does look familiar of whenever
Yeah.
I heard this story.
This is a Scientology compound. Looks beautiful. Have you noticed that for a cult, everything is pristine and I'd like to go fishing in that lake. Actually, I bet you there's some nice bass up there.
Well,
But you know, this is the California desert in the mountains, right? And then look at how lush it is.
oh, I get it, Wizzy, because you
Yeah.
know why she hit you up when you said you were going for 10 years when you got that answering machine?
Yeah,
She's probably looking for them dues. And they get them dues
it's
from
not
the
due.
cruise
There's no
and
dues.
the famous.
No, there's no dues, Tommy.
Well, they pay something, don't they?
You pay for services. You don't pay to.
Right. And they're expensive.
No, okay. So
That
auditing.
ain't government taxes building that lush
No.
green
How?
desert.
Okay. So here's a question, and this is sort of interesting. How much does it cost for somebody to go see a psychologist and talk about their problems?
Oh, I'm not knocking the price.
No. But
that's
like
how they pay
just
for
to
it.
give everybody perspective, what do you think it is an hour? You know, some of them are really expensive, a couple $100 an hour, right?
I wouldn't know because I'm so base,
For
but yeah, I guess they're like
therapists, you know,
80
whatever.
to-
People spend money, right?
Mhm.
Auditing is far cheaper than that per hour. And in Scientology, you buy blocks of auditing. You basically pay for hours, what they think is enough hours to get through whatever the level is that you're trying to achieve
I
and get
agree.
through. Right.
If the customer agrees and pays it,
Right.
that it is what it is.
Is a psychologist a tax write-off?
I don't think so. Wait, for the customer?
Right. Yeah.
It would be some kind of medical thing, right?
It could possibly be. I don't know. You might be able to figure out a way to write that off, but it's typically not. But at least with Scientology, it is a write-off. So, you know, the money that you spend there, you can write off as a donation to the church. But that money helps to whatever.
And Sassy Pants 420, only the churches that are making political stances and taking part in the governmenting church and state non-separation, yes, they should be taxed. But a church that's just doing the worship with the body of Christ, methinks not so much.
Why should a church be taxed?
I don't know, but that's what they said.
Sassy
I think
Pants,
the one,
why don't you
if-
join us? It would be fun. I'd like to hear
if
your
they're
thoughts on
trying to-
why churches should be taxed.
I agree that churches also shouldn't be making political sway moves with people. Those are the ones I would speculate. Yeah, if they're backing candidates and taking part in government, maybe they should be taxed because it doesn't sound very church-like.
Well, Tommy, technically the church is already getting taxed, right? Because if you go to a church, say a Catholic church, and on Sunday you put money in the tithings and whatnot, your money's already been taxed because you earned that money. You got taxed on it when you earned it, right? So that money is going. The government has already gotten their money partially from that money to begin with. So why should they get more money from the money that you're giving to the church for your faith?
And I've always said no one would have a problem with paying taxes if it was refined, if you were confident in where they were spent and that it was being done like that. You wouldn't. That's what it's for. You just pay them.
The Boston Tea Party was about representation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily about just the 2% that they were getting taxed. But, you know, these days it doesn't feel like you're getting the representation.
And, you know, this may sound a little extreme, but we'll just wait and see. But I've been saying when we go full cashless world bridge currency, all governments are going to lose control of their currency. It'll just be world Fed Ponzi scheme control of the currency.
Yeah. So what I saw in North Carolina is one of the best examples of why that shouldn't ever happen.
Yeah, because
You know what I mean?
red state, don't
Well,
FEMA them.
no, no, it's just the simple fact that, you know, we all take for granted being able to go to the store and buy something without cash and using a credit card at a gas pump, using a credit card at the grocery store. When you don't have those card machines and you don't have a way to pay for anything with the credit card, you now have to pay with cash.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't
And
have
the
cash,
prepper
you're
types
not
have
getting
always.
cash because guess what? The ATM's not working either.
Mm-hmm. See, the prepper types have always said, yeah, have a little cash
Yeah,
for
you need to
that.
have, right.
But where we're headed, it's like with cbdcs, it's like they were reading Revelations and said, well, what if we didn't even require the heavy metal tattoo? What if we could just turn the money off? That's a good idea, Johnson. Let's not even require a heavy metal tattoo. That's basically where we're headed. SEC versus Ripple was just theater, man. It was already decided. This coin is older than Bitcoin.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think that, you know, having a little bit of everything as an option is a problem.
No, it's not.
But
Is what I'm saying though on my due diligence end, and I've got the show sitting to back it. I've connected the founder of this digital coin with a bloodline of bankers that goes back to the 1600s. It was three families that traded off since the 1600s up until now of just banker power
Seagraph.
scams.
Yeah.
The fuggers, the motherfuggers.
Right. Yeah. Tommy, I'm really disappointed. I thought for sure that, well, I knew that they wouldn't show up and give them
And
the
I came
opportunity.
in case I was like, I think they might
Oh,
show
no,
up.
it's, yeah, it was interesting to talk to anyway, but
Yeah, we've never had a bad conversation. Like
no.
we do that quality over quantity. I've actually used our first, not the truth or cop one. I don't think we could recover that.
Dean wants to know some personal information about you, Tommy. Dean Wall's one of the wonderful world of trolls.
Yeah, I can hear the loaded. Well, what good is a gun that's not loaded, Dean? I think the closest. Oh, there's one behind me because I just took my belt off when I got home. I only, contrary to the guys that have like a basement full of guns, I only have the ones I'm gonna use because if someone catches me slipping, I don't want to outfit an entire marauder group whenever they catch me taking a shit in the woods, you know?
Yeah.
So I have a hunting rifle, I have a business at the end of the world rifle, got a concealed pistol,
Well, they all got washed away in the hurricane, so
right.
I'm sorry.
No,
that,
I've never had any delusions that when I pass that background check, that's an illegal list. But what are you gonna do?
Right.
You know they're keeping that list of every time you've background checked to buy something. Of course they are.
Of course.
I don't care. I'm a Christian. I wear it on the sleeve. I live out in the open. I don't have to be deceptive unless I'm fucking with the trolls.
Yeah.
Came in on Meth Pedo. Look how it's gone for 3 or 4 years. It's been a great ride. Great ride.
Yeah. Dean Wall, I wouldn't be opposed to having a conversation with you. In fact, that's really, what this was about, was your opportunity. You've been around for a long. You've been around. Well, not Dean. I didn't mention his name. It was more about, DOA's people and their beliefs and what they.
You know who we've been missing? What's his name? It's like Chester something. There's like a nerdy picture guy that usually runs around with Jeep. I can't think of his name.
Chester.
It's not Chester, but he's always on me about the crypto. I can't remember his name.
I don't know.
But he showed up with G that night out of nowhere after like a year.
Yeah.
Right on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. I see she kind of got bored and disappeared.
You
guys didn't time her out for a long time, did you?
Charlie Cheswick. Thank you, Honkus. Charlie Cheswick is who I was thinking of.
Ah, interesting. Who's that?
I don't think he is. Whoever's manning Charlie Cheswick's account, I don't think he's a real Charlie Cheswick, but he's just always floating around with that crew. Do they still have their free speech 24/7 channel going where it's just a chat? There's not really like YouTube stuff happening. Just shows a globe with
The
music
troll
playing.
the troll treehouse.
Did they change the name to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when it was the free speech.
They you know, it's their clubhouse, the troll treehouse.
I pride myself when I actually got wrenched.
Conservatives are not allowed.
You
You have to toe the line in their echo chamber, otherwise you're not allowed in there. Even Telescope gets a kicked out of there once in a while. They don't like Telescope in there either, which is funny. Like you don't have to go in there very often, but like if you stop in once every day or so, you see the chat because there's not enough of them to clear out the chat. So you can see what they've been talking about for hours. It's very fun. It's hysterical.
I did dig the music that was playing. It reminded me of some puzzle game I used to play.
Oh, really? I don't think they play music anymore. It seems to have stopped.
Yeah, they're getting lame. I mean, I could really hurt a lot of feelings right now. I already slipped up against my word and gave it away, so I guess I could just publicly say it. But the last I've seen of that old Carl, I've given him credit for some of his videos in the past. He was emailing me trying to low-key get me to do a channel with him, and I was like, bro,
I
you
should have.
No, well, I was like, Carl, I
Carl
give you
with the
credit
K,
on...
the fascist Carl.
He was so mad. He was so mad I let it slip. He deleted that Proton mail address and left. But when I was trying to tell him, I was like, that he didn't want me to say he was asking me. He didn't want anybody to know. And what I was saying was like, Carl, I give you props on your editing. You give me props on my editing. We just don't have the core values. It would never work, you know? Like, you're a socialist. I'm freedom. You're anti whatever. I'm Jesus guy. So it would never work. It's too
yin and yang works, I think. That's why The Odd Couple was so great, right?
I get like maybe me and Carl could roommate and it would work, but to do a channel of like, I think
show aspect. I think yin and yang is great. That's like it balances things out. You have to, you have to be able to respect the opinion of the other person, right?
I think you nailed it right there. I'm not sure.
Carl I don't know that Carl could, and I get that. But yeah, if you like you're gonna have your opinion, I'm gonna have my opinion. Maybe we can argue about it, but at the end, we're still gonna have a beer and we're gonna be buddies. That which isn't happening so much anymore, right?
And also
for a lot of people,
I am so bad about just doing my own channel to try and take on a team thing on the side. I doubt it. It's not like any of us are getting W-2 paychecks for this stuff. It's all hobby. I mean, I get some donos.
1099.
Yeah. But for the yin yang thing, I prefer more to see it like the way the light side has the dark eye, the dark side has the light eye. It's like sometimes some good comes from the dark side, sometimes some bad comes from the good side.
Right.
But I think the direction he wanted to go, I don't know if it's gonna work. Because we were never quite clear on it. I was never quite clear on what he approaching me overall and saying. I think he just wanted to troll people, which might have been fun. But
do you think he actually had, honest intentions with what he wanted to do with you?
I think he did, because no ego. The same way I sit here and spell out G's thing, and it's pretty much null and void once you spell it out every time you run into him. I was doing that to his strategies too. And I had called him out on that video he made where he tried to tie hoax war in with handsome truth. I was like, you implied that words were said that weren't really said. It got a little mumbly and you still threw the text up on the screen. It's like, I don't think you should stamp that. And he took it down and he claimed it got struck. I was like, whatever you need to say at the end of the day. But I saw him deflecting from the stand-up credibility thing at that point.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm almost embarrassed.
I didn't see what you were talking about. I don't even know the characters, but it sounds like a story I've heard before.
Did you see a situation that got around some of the panels? There was the swastika guys doing a peaceful, where have you seen Kyle on an overpass? And when a guy came up to come at them, he calmly wrapped him up in a hold and escorted him out. Didn't kick his ass or anything.
I
That
think
was
I saw
handsome.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he had the sweet shades on. Those were sweet shades, not
Sweet
a
shades.
small mustache. But
Okay.
that guy's visited the hoax war panel a couple times, and even I'll say home goy, because we're all goy. If you're not Jewish, goy is a term for you if you're not Jewish, so we're all goy. And Carl was trying to play it up like if you say home goy, you're a Nazi. If you're cordial with handsome truth with no combat, you're a Nazi. And I've got my own beef with hoax war even, but I don't let anybody.
They've tried to conquer language. They've tried to conquer clothing. What haven't they tried to conquer? To try
you gotta admit it.
And paint you as something that you are absolutely not.
And I'll
And I'm
confidently
speaking
say,
of as you, me, people
Right.
that they disagree with.
show me another military in history that has sharper commander uniforms than the small mustache. What was it, Louis Vuitton? I think Louis Vuitton, one of the actual stylists we still have today, is who made the Nazi uniform. You've never seen a sharper uniform.
Tommy.
Sorry. I'm not talking about the views. Not talking about
I know. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Even Warhammer 40,000, the Imperium, very close to those guys' uniforms. Yeah, just sharp, man, stylish. Yeah, fitted. Probably got them fitted for each other. And then another thing I appreciate about them, they would put eye and ear protection on. They'd fence each other just to get the facial scars. And I have to say, I think facial scars are pretty fucking cool. So I can't knock them for that either, man.
That is fun.
Even
but I will say,
Braun.
Under Armour did change the look of the American Army and military.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and isn't it ironic that a lot of his motivation toward the small hats was he misinterpreted the writings of Martin Luther, who's a very prevalent writer in the Protestant Christian writing, he just misinterpreted it and was like, yeah. Well, and also he wanted the Federal Reserve out of it. I mean, Hitler agreed. Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, and Adolf Hitler all agreed, get the Federal Reserve out of your country. A lot of people don't know that. Did those presidents?
Are you? Dean Wall wants to know. Dean Wall's making a statement. Do you love Hitler?
I mean, maybe in a Jesus way, but no, I don't agree with what he did. He did horrible things. But this is more of what the Jets see. I mentioned the sharp uniforms, and now they're going to stamp.
Yeah.
Everywhere I panel, you'll see him in the chat going, he loves Hitler. He said it, his words.
Because I know that's not what you said. You were making comments about a uniform, right?
But this is the only way we can fix the panel verse is we have to loop this till everyone that watches every channel understands what's happening.
Right.
We all have to evolve before we can all rise with the tide. Everyone has to be over the tactics until we're just on stand-up talks, conversation.
Minion says, Minion Masad says Deadpool killed Hitler.
I think he did. And did you know that Deadpool, I don't know if it still is, I watched Deadpool and Wolverine on this very platform. It might still be posted.
Really?
And it wasn't a phone recording either. I was impressed.
See, when I worked in Hollywood, I did a TV show where we killed Hitler.
Inglourious Basterds.
No. TV show.
I believed all my life that he had kids. I thought I saw documentaries referencing his kids, what happened to his kids when they were converged on. He never had any kids of his own. Unless that's a Mandela effect.
That he's acknowledged?
I guess he's never impregnated Ava.
I would think that somebody through time would have done a little research, and found his offspring if they existed and probably put an end to them.
I think he might have had like a relative's kids with him for a time or something, but I all the research I've done since someone said it says he's never had his own office. He never had his own office.
Yeah.
And it's just like the same way we were never told. Were you ever told in school that apparently Germans came and exploded the torch in the Statue of Liberty one time in an attack?
Really?
Yeah. Allegedly. I mean, I find it online, but I never heard it until somebody was talking about it.
That is.
They put explosives in the Statue of Liberty's torch. They had somehow converged across our lines. It was news to me.
That is very strange.
Now the chat's starting to encapsulate me. They're going off on their own tangent.
Hugo Boss was one of the makers of the Nazi uniforms, according to John.
Hugo Boss, that was
Hugo
it. Yeah.
Boss. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you're a Hugo Boss suit wearing, Volkswagen driving, you are a Nazi supporter.
I mean,
do you have a Volkswagen?
If your nation's auto producer, wouldn't you expect your nation's auto producer to chip in on making your wartime tanks, regardless of the stance?
We saw that with COVID, right? And all these manufacturers started making things, for the cause.
Oh, that's what I was going to reference.
Ventilators,
whenever
distilleries making,
people were so willing to stay home, and both sides, mask and no mask, both punched people in the face. I was going to relate that to something we were talking about earlier. I can't remember. Yeah. Slug bug. For us, it was Padiddle.
The people's car.
The people's
Volkswagen translated.
Now, when I was at Domino's,
made in Mexico. Made in Mexico.
I had a driver that was diehard Volkswagen, and he even had to spend hundreds of dollars on the custom tools to be able to work on his own. I do remember that. But I had an Audi, but it's just because somebody gave it to me when I needed it. Gave it to me for like pennies on the dollar.
Yeah. It's a Volkswagen. Now, anyway, it didn't used to be.
Hey, WYSIWYG, how do you fit the 30 Jews into Volkswagen? You put them into ashtray.
No, Tommy, come on now.
I was going to exit on that, but I forgot what I wasn't really saying. Yeah, it's just the thought German thing.
That is a tough one right there, though.
You were new to that one?
Yes, I must say I've not heard that bit of comedy.
Too soon, though?
Well, it's been several years, but.
And we're still trying to convince them that happened and that we're on a globe and that we do go to space and there are things up there in space. I can't with this internet, man. It's a great delusion. It's a strong delusion.
Hence the Illumitami. Thanks for hanging out and having a conversation.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Let me know.
Yeah.
No,
it definitely went in a strange direction, but hey,
that's my
I would expect anything but from you. All right, Tommy, take it easy. We'll see you.
You too.
That's Illumitami, everybody. Anyway, well, we didn't have as much of a discussion about the amusings of Scott Hochstetter out there in California and his people who will believe just about anything. So we gave him an opportunity. I guess maybe they felt they didn't want to interrupt Tommy, maybe. Give them a minute if they decide that that's it's not even sure what's going on. I'm not either. It definitely took a turn. But it just sort of goes to show you that, it is what it is. Oh my. All right, y'all. It's been fun. It's been grand. I've enjoyed it and I appreciate you. And, let's do this again sometime. Maybe, hopefully we can make this happen again soon. I've enjoyed it. Hope you've enjoyed it. for a little Saturday. We'll give them a chance once again. You guys enjoy your Saturday, and we'll see you later. Thanks, everybody. Oh, it didn't end right. I forgot something. Holy cow. Should we just keep it going? I forgot I was using this other nonsense. It ended the other stream over there, but oh well. All right. See you guys. It's been fun.